All right, guys. Today is September 14th, 2025. Coming at you for the live stream. Hopefully, you're doing well. It's been some time. I took a nice long break from just making videos, live stream. I've just been doing more live streams and, just life's been in the way and life's been going on and stuff. And it's nice to take a break, reevaluate some things and everything. And hopefully you're enjoying Daryl Dixon. So we're going to talk about last week's episode a little bit. I haven't seen the new episode yet. I know it came out on AMC Plus, and just been doing stuff this morning, so I haven't been around to watching it. And we're going to talk about, is Daryl Dixon a good show? Remains to be seen. Remains to be your opinion. I always like to see what people are talking about, what shows you're watching, any shows, movies, anything on there too. I want to talk about, a couple of different things that I've been watching on Netflix. We're watching that Alien Earth show on Hulu. I didn't really watch the fight last night because it was going to be on late now, Canelo Crawford. But thinking about just a bunch of different things. What's going on with you? Hopefully you're doing well. And yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time. Thank you, Tim, Big Tree, Heart of Nixie, Carol, Rob K, and everyone else that's joining as we speak. It's been some time, but it's like getting back on the bike that you haven't rode in a while, or putting on an old shoe, and just feels right. Just feels good to talk about. Sorry, some stuff. So before we get into Daryl Dixon, let's just spend, general 15 minutes or so to talk about some different stuff. And again, I haven't seen episode 2 yet of season 3 of Daryl Dixon, but been watching different stuff on Netflix, some stuff on Hulu, watching Peacemaker on HBO Max, watching Twisted Metal on Peacock. How about you guys? What are you watching? Any other shows, movies, any recommendations? I still have yet to see Superman, Fantastic Four, and the latest Jurassic Park movie. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just been a bunch of stuff going on. Time's going by. We had a good Labor Day, Super Bowl. The football season is going underway. I don't know who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, but in the first week down, a lot of craziness has happened. My Cowboys actually play the Giants today. That's my wife's team, so they're probably playing right now as we speak because it's the 1 o'clock game. And the Bucks play on Monday night, so it's always good to see different sports going on, especially football, NFL, college. Who's your team? Who do you like? I told you I'm a Cowboys fan. How about you? What are you enjoying on there as well? Carol says smoke on Apple is good. Washington Black is good. I don't really have access to Apple, so that's one of those things where I haven't really been able to watch a lot of their shows. And it's just crazy if you think about all the different streaming service that you have to be able to watch. These different shows, movies, now football games. I tried to watch the stuff last Sunday on Fox 1. Now you have to download Fox 1. Before it was Fox Sports or Fox Local or Fox this. It's like crazy. So Rob K's a Steelers fan. End the season now. So I believe they play the Seahawks, so they have a good chance of going 2-0. That was a crazy game against the Jets last week. Crazy game with the Ravens last week with Buffalo, and it's just always something different on there too. So I've seen a little different reports about Dead City Season 3 is filming in Massachusetts as we speak. I believe they started filming this week. They added a new cast member. I don't know if that makes any sense or means anything to a lot of people. Michael is a 49ers fan, so we'll have to see how they do without Brock Purdy, George Kittle. They play the Saints, I believe, so I still pick them in my pool. So hopefully they're going to win that game because I feel like they should still be better than the Saints, even though I believe it's on the road, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'll have to check out, Apple in a different way, because it's tough if you have Amazon. I have Amazon, Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, Peacock. Like, I have access to those, and it's just crazy because that stuff adds up real quick. Internet is $95 by itself to watch all the different stuff. It's just nuts. That's where we're getting towards. Paramount Plus is another good one too. I'm excited for. I believe Tim is my Taylor Sheridan fan as well, and they. So I think the first show that's coming back is it Mayor of Kingstown? No, it's Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, Landman, I believe is the next 3 Sheridan shows. And then Yellowstone Marshals with Casey, and then the Rip, Beth show. A lot of big castings in that Rip and Beth show. So that's still going forward with a lot of that, which is pretty great. So, yeah, Rob Mercer, Michael Shaw is in Twisted Metal. He's Axel. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to give anything away, but he's pretty cool. Like, Twisted Metal is a ridiculous show because it's a ridiculous game to turn into a TV show. You know, with Sweet Tooth, and Anthony Mackie's character, I believe, is just for the show. Tim says Tulsa King is next Sunday. Very cool. I'm excited about that. And if you haven't seen it, Rob, you'll like the Mercer. Well, it's not Mercer. It's Axel. He's the Axel character. But pretty cool. Isaiah, Cowboys Nation. Yeah, hopefully they can get a win today against the Giants. You know, everybody knows if you're a Cowboys, if you're an NFL fan and you know anything about the big trade that was done with Micah Parsons to the Packers. I mean, unless you draft 2 great first rounders from the Packers in the next 2 years, I don't know how good they're going to be compared to Micah Parsons because he's a pretty good talent on defense. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to replace. 2 crazy shows, I guess 3 crazy shows on Netflix that we watched. Have nothing to do with The Walking Dead or anything like that. But there's a show that's called Later Daters, and it takes place in Georgia, and it's just like it sounds. It's older people getting back to dating. They're like in their 60s, or maybe 50s and 60s. And they're like divorced or widowed and everything, and they try dating, and it's interesting for sure. And they're all in Georgia, in the state of Georgia, so it's kind of cool to see different spots there. There's another show called, I forget what it's actually called, but the premise is that it's a true story, I believe, that this woman was being bullied by an unknown number, and she was in high school in like Michigan or something, in some small town, and it's just crazy what happens with who's the person that's bullying her. I don't want to give it away. I want you to check it out. And then the other one is Love Con Revenge or something. It's like with the romance scams, and you see these people, there's mostly women, but there's a man that gets scammed out of money, and you see these people track him down, and I think they're in Nashville for one of it, they're in Rhode Island, they're in Florida, they're kind of all over the United States with it, but it's just something else to watch. But those are some different shows that if you're struggling to watch anything, but now you got football on Monday, football on Thursday, football on Saturday if you're a college fan, football on Sunday, a lot of football. And it's like, yeah, crazy. And then we're going to have the Tulsa King on Sundays. Then we're going to have Gen V, I believe, comes back this week on Amazon Prime. I believe it's Friday, but I could be mistaken. But it's coming up very soon. If that's if you watch Gen V and The Boys, so it's always pretty cool. Tim says, where does Kevin Pollak will be in Tulsa King, and heard maybe Samuel Jackson, then Landman is November, and Sam Elliott could be in that. Sam Elliott, I believe Sam Elliott is in Landman. I believe he's Billy Bob Thornton's dad in that show, which I love the idea that Taylor Sheridan kind of does like Martin Scorsese. He uses the same actors for a lot of his projects, which is pretty cool. And I just think it works. I just love a lot of the Taylor Sheridan stuff, and I think it's been great too. So Rob K says he's looking forward to the Marvel Zombies, and welcome to Derry, the It series. So Marvel Zombies, I believe, comes out the 24th, I want to say, on Disney Plus. And I saw the little snippet of the zombies, and it's a little crazy because the zombies are still acting like the characters, like Iron Man, and they're fighting here and Wong, and Bruce Banner. It's just crazy. Like, it's just over the top, but it looks interesting for sure. Dan says Daryl hasn't been the best series though. There's lots of better shows on right now, like Dexter, Gen V, and some others. Yeah, no, I mean, so I'm just going to talk about general stuff for the first 15 minutes, and then we'll get into the Daryl show. But overall, I love Daryl, I love Carol, but I just feel like the writing is just so, like, what are they trying to do with all this stuff? I don't think that, I don't know who is writing the plot of this stuff, but it's just like we're seeing Daryl's European vacation. Like, he's going to go here. He goes to France, and then he goes to London, and then he goes to Spain, and then where else is he going to go after that? I mean, I didn't really care about the Walking Dead Comic-Con panel, but I believe that the thing about it is just, I don't know, let me just get this person out of here. And so I feel like, was it season 4 is going to be the last one of the Daryl show? Is that what it is? Because at this point, I'm like, just wrap it up. And we need a reunion of Daryl and Rick. And then just end it and move on with our life. I know Ride with Norman Reedus is going to have some good other actors on there. And, it's just funny. Like, I'm not going to get into it, but someone just spammed we've been doing this for 11 minutes, and someone already spammed, which is hilarious. And I don't know if other channels have this. Like, do people go to another channel and they're like, Team PT, Team this, Team that, Team this person. It's just like, why is there a butting of heads or like sides, rivals or whatever? Like, I could care less what other channels do and what they say, and it just makes no sense why that has to happen. But, people are, it's just a whole bunch of crap. But ultimately, at the end of the day, is got to keep on keeping on and doing the best you can with what you got. And The Walking Dead is still going on. And it's funny because, like, there's more and more fake news going around. I saw something on Facebook the other day that they're like, 2 new spin-off shows. They're going to come here. They're going to do this with these characters. And I didn't even click on the article, but I looked at the comments, and it was just all fake. And, I mean, I would love to see a continuation of the Walking Dead universe, but do it right. Don't do these shows that are so bare bones, basic, budgeted. It's like budget Walking Dead. And that's what Fear the Walking Dead felt like. And I like the idea of them trying to do something. I like to see that they're trying to expand the universe of it. But it just ultimately feels like they don't know what they're doing besides the main show. Like, all the other spinoffs were just like laughable. And AMC was like, we need to continue with this Walking Dead stuff. What do you got? And I don't know, the writers were like, what about this? What about that? What about here? What about outside the United States? What about the other coast? What about here? What about there? What's ultimately going to be the end game of it? I don't think they're ever going to do a cure. I don't think they're ever going to find out that they can stop any of this. And that's fine, because if people die, you just have to prevent them from biting other people. Because, again, if everyone's infected in the Walking Dead universe, then there's nothing that can be done about it. Just if someone dies, you have to prevent them from hurting others, because they'll reanimate and come after that. But yeah, I mean, the other stuff going on that's really it. Anyone watching Alien Earth? Because we watched episode 4 last night on Hulu. And I like the show. Like, it's a good show. It connects with Aliens a little bit. Like, it connects with previous stuff. And we like that. I love the idea of previous. If the universe is open, just connect the dots. Like, it's just worked in different areas. Majority of stuff doesn't work, but Breaking Bad, I think, did it right with the main show, and then the aftermath of it is El Camino, and then Better Call Saul, And it just connects the dots with before, after, during, after, before, it's good on there too. So Michael says he's watching Alien Earth. It's very good. I like it. I mean, I love that realm of it, even though I don't want to get too much into the stuff if you haven't seen it. But last week's episode, or the episode I watched, episode 4, that scientist lady was like the stupidest person ever around there too, especially with not locking in the samples and everything. You're just like, what is going on here? It's just like, come on, be smarter with that too. So yeah. Yeah, like it's pretty cool. I love the idea of, synthetics and cyborgs and this and that and whatever on there too. Obviously if you know my book series, I have characters that are enhanced. And so it kind of goes into that realm of people, human bodies, anatomy, and machines and upgrades and integrating that. I feel like that's like the best part of science fiction is the future. Where the things are going to go. Like The Fifth Element. Love that. Back to the Future. Love the second one, obviously. But love that. The future look at how is stuff going to be potentially in the future with products, goods, services, making things easier and where the future may lead. It's pretty cool. All right, guys, so let's talk about Daryl Dixon. Well, Dead City, I told you they're supposedly filming season 3 right now in Massachusetts. They have some lady that was cast in there too as a season regular. But just like in the Daryl show, Dead City is Maggie and Negan and then everybody else. Even though some of those characters have survived longer than we would have thought, because a lot of the characters that are added, brought into the shows, are just filler and ways to move the character story, the main characters down the story. And the Daryl show is all about that, right? Like the first season of Daryl is Daryl in France. How did he get there? He's trying to get here to find Rick. He gets on a boat. He crash lands. He does this, meets these people, meets Isabel, Laurent, whatever. Laurent, as of season 2, Laurent is gone and Isabel died. Okay, that's gone. And none of those guys, unless we see Laurent again, like I don't know if we're going to see him again this season, which I kind of hope we do, because like I don't just want to go through the seasons and they don't kind of connect at all, but besides Daryl and Carol just going through on a nice vacation. So season 3, if you haven't seen it, hopefully you'll see season 3, episode 1 so far, but we're going to talk about that. So spoiler warning, if you haven't seen season 3, episode 1, stop watching now. So it's basically Daryl and Carol walking, going down there too, and then they go to London, and it's very 28 Days Later. They go down that bridge going towards Big Ben, and I guess downtown London or whatever. I've never been there, so I don't know. You see the bridge, you see this, you see different stuff. They go into like an area that was controlled by the military, evidently that was overrun. And there's no signs of life or anything anyway. They go down this small little side street, and they're making noise just walking. And all these walkers come out. Like, I don't know, hundreds of walkers. They wake up, they were sleeping, they were, hibernating, and they just go. And then Daryl and Carol fire bolts and guns and this, and more walkers come, and more come. And they like open up a door and then don't close the door. So then Carol's got to open another door that's a gate or something, and she's struggling. And it's like, this is what like newbies and people who don't know what they're doing do. It's kind of out of character for me, and maybe I'm nitpicking, but it's just what the episode gave us. Daryl and Carol, to me, are like the OGs. They know how to clear out a room, clear out an area, clear out all this stuff. And I know they didn't know there was a bunch of walkers there. They wouldn't have done that. But they did. And they go in, and then they finally get through, and it's very dramatic, like Walking Dead stuff is. But we know Carol and Daryl are not going to die. Like, they can't. They're going to make it to the very end. Unless it's the very last episode. And even then, Daryl's going to be last man standing. Beth said it. We know, right? And so Carol and Daryl go into this apartment building, whatever. and they go around. That they go into a house, and there's a walker hanged from a lamp or chandelier or something in the ceiling, a fan or I don't know, whatever, something hanging. And they don't kill the walker, so it obviously falls down, and it's very dramatic. And Carol goes into the kitchen. They don't clear the house. They don't shut the door. They don't do anything they're supposed to do just to stay alive. Like, it was just really stupid. And then Carol's eating sugar or something, and then she fights the walker and, hits it with a fire extinguisher and freezes it, and then Daryl kills the other walker or whatever that was there, and they go around, and they're hungry and this and that, and they find alcohol, and Carol has this can of hot dogs, which sounds like kind of terrible. Like, a can of hot dogs, that would be one of the worst parts, obviously, of the zombie apocalypse, is the lack of food, luxury items, just good food, good, drinks, whatever, It would run out pretty quickly, especially if you don't know how to take care of stuff. But so they're there and they do all that, and they make it to London, so they get their way, Tim says, like I wrote, the first episode was just getting to him. Yeah, so it's basically getting them to there, and then it's even getting them further to Spain, because it was filmed in Spain. And so Daryl and Carol are in this penthouse place at the top, and there's a guy who sees them in the distance, like very far away. And he's got some sort of thing reflecting light, and they see that, and they're like, what's going on? And so they're in their place, they're eating, they're going to eat the can of hot dogs, but they don't. And then there's some movement on the roof, and they open up the French doors to the balcony, and there's a guy there, an Englishman named Julian. And he's an English actor that I've seen in other stuff. And I was like, cool, new blood, new person, new stuff. And he knows how to sail. He has a boat. Carol lies that they know how to sail, because how do you think they got there? Because Carol's like the best at that. She knows how to survive. Like, she knows how to just blend in. She knows how to, she's been doing it her whole life probably. And so it fits the character and everything. So they get to the boat. It's a smaller boat. And Carol and Daryl, lie. They don't know how to sail at all. And Julian's like, well, I don't know, this, and it doesn't. But either way, they try it. So they're sailing on this smaller boat, and they're in the water, and they're going down there too, and life is great, and they're doing this, and they're going to be home in the United States in 11 to 17 days or something crazy, and they're doing that. And then I think they make it like one day at sea, and a storm comes, and the boat crashes, and they're on this land, and Carol's got a concussion and something in her back, like a metal piece. Daryl is like a little wounded, but he's all right. And there's no Julian, the English guy. And so Carol gets up and she walks around and she finds Julian, the English guy, just standing and looking at the water. And he turns around and he's a walker. So he died. So they got lucky that the guy wasn't eating either of Daryl and Carol's appendages or biting them. And Carol, they fight him off and they kill him, the walker, and they put him out to sea in a nice thing. But Carol's not doing well, She's burning up. She's got an infection or whatever. And Carol and Daryl find a spot to kind of hide and take shelter. And then these weird people that are dressed up in, like, I guess, animal skins and animal stuff, like very, I'd say prehistoric, but just like survival mentality, like very old school way of surviving, like cavemen on horseback and what, like medieval. And they check out the boat and take the stuff, I guess. And they don't see Daryl and Carol, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, there's only so many spots to check out. But either way, they wake up the next morning and they find this small little shack in the woods. And Daryl goes away to, like, get some stuff. Carol hears, like, these kids playing along the water or something, because the sound travels along the water. And I'm guessing she went there, but Carol is nowhere to be found when Daryl comes back to the little shack. And Daryl's like, Carol, 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 Carol. And then that's it. That's the end of the episode. And we know that Carol and Daryl are going to be safe because we know other pictures and we know these other people that are going to be there. And there's this group fighting this other group. And there's going to be like a civil war kind of thing of power and struggle and everything there too. And it's in Spain. Like there's no doubting that they're in Spain, España. And we'll have to see where it goes. You know, there's 7 episodes this season, which feels like a weird number. Like it's usually like 6, 8, or 10. But there's 7, and we'll have to see what adds up for the show, because I like the idea of wrapping it up, finishing it, and ultimately it has to be, it's almost like Morgan's story, right? Like the same nonsense that Rick and Morgan were in the first episode. Morgan, Dwayne help Rick. Rick leaves. Morgan and Dwayne stay there. Morgan joins the rest of the cast. He comes back in season 3 and then joins the cast in season 5, I believe. And it's a big deal with Morgan coming back, and he survives past his comic story, and he does this, and here's a whole big thing. And then they're like, we want to have a crossover with The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, so that they designated Morgan to go do it. And Morgan somehow finds the cast of Fear the Walking Dead in Texas, from Virginia all the way to Texas. Like that would be really easy to do. Didn't encounter any other problems or enough that he couldn't handle. No, world beyond people at all. No military, no anything. And he comes across the Fear the Walking Dead people, survives, does what he has to do there, and then has a new love interest, basically gets a daughter, and they're going to go back to find Rick Grimes. So does all that just to come back home. And I get they were trying to link the 2 shows, but this is kind of what it feels like too, that, like Carol says, if Daryl and Rick don't unite at the end, we riot. And that's all we're asking for. All this nonsense of Daryl going there and Laurent and these people and here and Isabel. And we haven't seen, I forget his name, but the guy with the eye patch that, attacked Daryl in the cave with the guano that was making him hallucinate and everything. I believe he was seen filming for season 4. I believe for the Daryl show, but I could be mistaken. And I don't know if we're going to see him at all. But that'd be kind of crazy. Like people are just linking up and coming together like it's easy. They go from France to London to Spain to the United States or to Greenland or I don't know, whatever, to Maine, to here, to there. And I just don't see it being a rewarding, awesome thing. And like the Daryl show is like, meh. Dead City is like, but we have to see how it ends. I know I do. It's like a bad book. It's like a bad story. It's like a bad movie that you just got to finish. You got to see what happens. Because you got to conclude it. You have to wrap it up. And some people will give up on it. And I'm sure not as many people watch The Walking Dead as they used to, which is fine. And I don't think a lot of people do care much about this universe besides the diehards. And it's amazing how Phantom Deluxe, hey. And so it's amazing how some people online, like some people are posting stuff about different shows and different things on there too. And they're like, oh, I love this show. Oh, I love this on there too. And you're like really? Like 1923. There was a whole group of people that loved that show. And it was so like disappointing. It had its moments that was like Spencer, this, that. And if you haven't seen it, you don't know what I'm talking about. But there's basically a guy trying to come back home, and it's kind of like this. It's kind of like Daryl. It's kind of like Daryl went away. He has to come back home, and it's taking forever to come back home. It's going to be problem after problem after this, after that. Like they're trying to go home. And that's realistic. I would assume that they're trying to go home. But I don't know. It just seems ridiculous at this point. And it kind of is. You know, remember when The Walking Dead was just like so good? I remember when The Walking Dead was just so entertaining and it was must-see television every week that it was. Negan won. What's up, my Arizona guy? Those Cardinals. Hopefully they'll, hope John Connor has a good, John Connor, the running back. Hope he has a good game today. I mean, if you care about the Cardinals, Negan won, but I know you're an Arizona guy, so. But remember when The Walking Dead was like awesome and every Sunday was like great and October was like, yes, I can't wait to see what goes down. Do you feel that way anymore? And I kind of feel like they'll come up with different stuff. They're going to come up with other shows. I think TV is where it's at now for writers because you have good character development. There's enough streaming platforms. Like, look at all the streaming platforms that have good shows. Like HBO shows, Hulu shows, Amazon shows, Netflix, Apple, you know, everything. They have their own stuff. And everyone has, like, every platform has at least one show that you're like, I got to watch that. Whether it's The Boys or Reacher or whatever, they're on Amazon. A bunch of Apple shows, you know, that are good. Hulu has originals. You know, Netflix, of course, like Stranger Things and everything else. And you're just like, man, like, talk about Stranger Things. Like, I can't wait to see how they got to wrap that. Oh, I know what I watched. I watched the, what's the one with, I'm blanking on the name. The Marvel movie with, you know, the new Black Widow and Red Guardian and Winter Soldier, and well, at the end of it, it's the new Avengers, but it's I watched it on Disney Plus, and it's okay. It's not great by any means. It's a huge setup movie for the future of the MCU, but it was okay. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, Thunderbolts. Thank you, Cybercoast. I was having a brain fart, but Thunderbolts. I mean, Hopper is the best. That's what made me think of it as Stranger Things with Dan Harbour. And I just can't wait to see how they wrap up Stranger Things because I've been watching that forever. Like, when did that come out? Like 2018 or 2016? Like, it's like forever ago. And then because they had the writer's strike and then this and then COVID and that and then trying to get together and boom, and it's finally coming out Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Like 3 parts. That's pretty awesome. Can't wait to see how they wrap that up too. So Negan one says, I'm waiting to see The Long Walk on streaming, waiting for that movie for a while. Yeah, I saw a preview for that. I didn't know. And then I saw some article about that's a Stephen King book that I don't really know much about it. I just know are they kids or people like forced to walk a distance and there has to be a winner? Like, it's a thing. I don't know. Looks kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, so the Daryl show, it's ultimately just getting them from point A to point B to point C to point D to point home to point America to Maine to Virginia, because we know that Rick Michonne are back home. And like, yeah, that's kind of like just wrap it up. Because we know that Rick and Michonne made it home, so they're waiting there in Alexandria. Or like, what if, because you know that Andrew Lincoln lives in the UK. And they're filming the Daryl stuff. I don't even know where they're filming season 4. Is it still Spain, I believe? And I know it's not, I don't know, you know, on the map, it's whatever, but how cool would it be that Rick shows up with the Civic Republic and saves Daryl's butt? And then, boom, Finn, done. Let's get back home. We got a lot to catch up on. And, you know, it's a plane or whatever. Like, I think that'd be the best ending. What would be the best ending? for the Daryl show. Because Dead City, that's its own nonsense in my opinion. But we just care about Daryl and Carol, but Daryl and Rick specifically, right? Like, what is going to be the best ending for you? Daryl and Rick reunite, right? But like, how? How do you want to see it? Do you want to see Daryl and Carol ride up to the gates of Alexandria? Well, Alexandria is fine, but the gates of the Commonwealth, and that's who opens the gate is Rick. Hey guys. And Daryl's like, what the? And he starts to break down and cries and gives him the hug like they did at Hilltop. Is that what you want to see? And we know that could possibly be the ending if Norman Reedus, Melissa McBride, if they're filming in Sonoy or at the studio, if they're filming more in Georgia, I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying if they are, then we think that's going to be the ending. And I think it has to be, right? You have to do this fan service. You have to do that for everybody. So, and Negan one says, best ending, all the zombies stop. Movie, nobody turns anymore, rebuild civilization. So, right, but I don't think it's the Daryl show. Like, I don't think Daryl is like going to be responsible for rebuilding civilization. I think that's the end game for what it is. Like it would be cool if Rick and Michonne, but I'll just take Rick. But I mean, I want Michonne, of course. I want Denai there too. You know, let's give some love to Denai. But Rick and Michonne talk to Daryl and Carol at the Commonwealth about what they've been doing since they left, since the Civic Republic is actually helping the world now instead of trying to take things over. Or it would be really great because remember the post-credit scene at the end of World Beyond that was at the French CDC? And everybody thought that Daryl was going to go there, and Daryl was going to this, and Daryl was going to that. That had nothing to do with anything. Daryl went to church to, whatever, made friends, fell in love, saved a kid, left, fought a group, beat up some people, killed some walkers, you know, like did all that stuff. Daryl being Daryl that we love. But never went to the French CDC. And now they're in Spain. So, like, that's never going to come around? Or we're never going to meet the Primrose team and then this and that. And it was nonsense, right? It was just, that had no connections with the World Beyond. It was like a post-credit sequence that they took from Marvel's idea. But, I don't know. Tim says he needs Morgan in this Rick Daryl reunion. That would be cool too. And speaking of Morgan, Tim, I believe Lenny James is going to be in Mayor of Kingstown. My girl Carmela Soprano is going to be in there too. Edie Falco. So I'm really excited for Mayor of Kingstown season 4. Taylor Sheridan seems to get the best casting of people. Like, he has so many great actors and actresses in all of the shows, not just one, all of the shows. Like, hands down, the best casted people are in Taylor Sheridan shows. And they just keep adding them and getting better and better and better. Like, it's awesome. Like, without Taylor Sheridan, I don't know what Paramount would have done. Like, he's carrying that show. Like, I know Sylvester Stallone is the person who built Paramount or built up Paramount or whatever. But Taylor Sheridan is the one that's keeping it going. Yeah, I mean, Mayor of Kingstown is not for everybody, but I like it. I mean, I love Jeremy Renner, and I think it's a good thing. So, but if you gave up on it, that's okay too. But I just like the feel of like the streets and the people trying to do stuff and whatever, and it just kind of draws me in a little bit as well. There's another movie coming out in January. It's called The Rip. And my wife sent me, I was at work the other day, and she sent me a picture of it, and it's on Netflix, and it comes out January, I don't know, 16th or something, 19th, 16th, something like that. And it has Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and they're Miami cops. And there's a trailer of it. Lioness is one I hate. Lioness I gave up on. I stopped watching Lioness for sure. I'm like, done, stupid, move on. That's my least favorite thing that they've done, that he's done, Taylor Sheridan. But The Rip, it's Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. If you watch From, it's what's her name? The lady with the family with Julie and her husband, and I forget it, but she's in it. And then also Stephen Yeun, Glenn is in it. And they're Miami cops that have a drug bust or something, or it's a money bust. And then there's a whole big thing that unveils after that. And it's like $20 million or something. And it's just crazy. And it looks pretty good. You can watch the trailer or the sneak peek or something, whatever it is, on YouTube. But it's called The Rip, R-I-P. I forget her name. It's been a while since I've cared about the From characters, so I'll have to get caught up on that when it comes back next year. But I know they've been filming From in British Columbia, and so I'm excited about see where that goes. But there's like so many good shows and movies. Like, it's just an awesome time to watch stuff. Like, I feel like September to December is the best. I think January sucks. But I love September to December. And we got a couple of trips coming up later this year. And it's just stuff to look forward to. The holidays, my birthday. Just trying to do some things for my wife and I to have some fun, you know. And it's just a fun thing that hopefully you guys got trips coming up. There's an airport by me called Clearwater St. Pete, and they have Allegiant Airlines there. And I have not flown them since I flew out of Fort Lauderdale to Spartanburg, South Carolina. And they're a smaller, no-frills airline. But I don't really want to go to Tampa as much anymore because it's kind of a hassle and whatever. And it's not that bad of a thing, but it's definitely more of a drive. And if I can save money on the smaller airlines and to go to smaller airports and try to get around, because we're looking at going to like Illinois, would love to go to Colorado, love to go to different spots, different parts of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and just trying to see what we can do. And if we can go to a smaller airport to avoid the craziness where it's at, you know, like avoiding Atlanta, avoiding certain airports, layovers, just direct nonstop flights. But how about you guys? What are you guys doing for the rest of the year? Any trips, vacations, anywhere? I've seen some different things about conventions. I know that Chandler Riggs was just at a convention, and he took a picture with somebody dressed up as Negan and another person that was dressed up as Carl. And I was like, and they were young kids. I was like, wow, there's people still cosplaying as these people as the show ended. And, you know, I think The Walking Dead is going to be a part of the pop culture forever. You know, it was a huge show. Like, it had major records on network television. But as with anything, stuff gets in the way. People get in the way. Executives, money, budgets, time, whatever, you know. Like, it's just a lot to make sense of it. So, I mean, other than that, guys, I enjoyed my time off. And it's not like a big deal because it's just an hour on Sundays. But sometimes it opens up the schedule. So I plan to do the live streams for the rest of this month and the rest of October. And then we'll see, you know, what's going to happen in November, December, because I'm going to be doing some different vacations and stuff and I won't be available. So And I know, like, so again, the Daryl Dixon show, season 3 is 7 episodes. So if this is episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Episode 7 will be on October 19th. So, you know, probably the 19th. And I'll probably finish on the 26th of October for sure. If I go into November, December, we'll make that there too. But I want to just finish out September and October. And I had some different ideas of like different videos at like the gym and stuff. And just because like the gym etiquette and the way people are, they don't even care. And I was wondering if like people know to like not re-rack their weights a certain way, putting the smaller plates in front of the bigger ones. Like, don't ever do that. Put the 45s together, the 25s together, the 10s together, the 35s. Because what I've learned is that if you have say you put a 10-pound plate in front of a 45-pound plate, and someone grabs the 45-pound plate and they don't see the 10 and they just pull it off, that 10-pound plate's going to come flying off and hit the person in the foot or the shin or fall down and break something. So it's just easier to throw the stuff on there, but it's just take the extra time and or organize it a little bit better, especially for the next person. You know, like I like the idea of having campground rules, leave it better than when you found it. The same thing with the gym. The same thing. It's like, don't be so selfish with everything. And we have to think about the world. We don't have to, but I think if we all chip in a little bit here and there in common places, common grounds like parking lots, supermarkets, stores, this, shopping cart stuff, or whatever it is, it's like, let's just be respectful and helpful to one another instead of just worried about, I'm going to get mine. Like so much social media and Facebook and Instagram and everything and making content and videos is all about clicks and views and nonsense. Like there's channels, you know what we're talking about, that just want the views. They don't care. They're going to have as much controversy and problems and say all this nonsense stuff and say it in a way that's from an account or another account or a fake account on a different thing, a different platform, and accuse people and have all this stuff because they just want the views and the nonsense. And it's just stupid. Like it's ultimately bad karma. What goes around comes around. You know, it's just like, that's just no way to live, in my opinion, and just dumb. But if we can be helpful and kind and, you know, respectful to everyone, not all the time because some people aren't the best. Like yesterday, my wife and I went to Publix, a supermarket. And Publix is the big supermarket here in Florida. And so we go there and we go down this aisle and there's nobody there, but there's just this cart in the dead center of the aisle. And there's like greeting cards, the cart, a little circular bin, and then an employee behind the bin putting stuff away. And we're walking towards the cart. My wife does the little like, so the person knows that we're walking. The lady turns, looks at my wife, and then looks back at her cart, or looks back at the wall where she's putting stuff away, and doesn't move her cart. So I gave it a second, 2, nothing, and was like, okay. Well, and I looked at her, and I was like, I'm going to move your cart out of the way, and just moved it out of the way and put it to the side like it's supposed to be. And this is an employee of the store. You should just know that, right? And then my wife said that she was like shaking her head or whatever. And I'm like, I gave plenty of time for you to do it, but why are you blocking the aisle anyway? Put the cart off to the side and not thinking about the nonsense of just, I got to do my job. Hope nobody comes. I don't care. Like, that's just ridiculous, you know? Hard Nixie says, my sister fell in love with her husband when she met him at the gym as he was wiping off the equipment he had used. The fact that he did that made a wonderful impression on her. Exactly. So that's another thing, right? I always bring a towel. Like I have a towel. I put it on the back of the bench or whatever I'm using, the machine. And then they have spray bottles with, you can get paper towels, like you use the machine and get the paper towel. And then wipe it down after spraying the machine or spraying the paper towel. And it's just like, you don't think about it as a thing. But you ever go on a machine or about to go on a machine and there's a nice sweaty head mark from the person on there before? Or there's like sweat stains on the seat or the back from the head or the back or the butt crack. That's great, right? It makes me want to use it. No, like, come on. Like, you wipe it down. And people don't have towels. They have all this stuff over. But it also shows the people that care about it. You see, I've seen the same people at the gym. They never re-rack their weights. They just leave stuff everywhere. They don't care. And I care because I go to the gym. I take it not personal, but I take it as like, it's not my house, but it kind of is. I want to take care of the place, put stuff back, have other people not mess up their workout, or someone's going to use this machine and the person's got to re-rack their weights. There's people of all different shapes and sizes and everything. And it's just people need help sometimes with the machine that's higher with the attachments, or there's a heavy 45-pound plate on the thing and the person doesn't want that on there and they're going to have to take it off and they can hurt themselves. And it's just rude, but people don't care. But everyone says that. I think if you took a poll of everybody in here or in life, the majority of people would say the world sucks, life sucks, people suck, it's a terrible place, what just happened recently. It's terrible, right? But if we keep saying how terrible thing is and keep this and don't like try to make it better and try to be helpful and try to be considerate and respectful and nice, and you don't even have to do a lot. It's just holding the door for somebody, saying thank you, saying please, giving acknowledgement, typing a response to someone's text or email or Slack message or whatever at work or something on there too. Like, it goes a long way. And we're supposed to do that, but we don't. It shows like, I'm above you. I don't care about you. Peasant, get out of here. Like, that's terrible. Like, I would never want someone to feel that way ever. Because I don't want to feel superior than anybody. I want to feel equal or just helpful to that person. Like, I don't want to feel anything that way too. Like, when I have patients that come in, I heard a great line on the radio. It was like a guy who's a lawyer. And he was saying something, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not a judge, so I don't do that. I don't judge people. And I was like, that's a great way of putting it too. Like, I'm not a judge. I'm a physical therapist. And I always tell my patients, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to get you better. So whatever the problem is or whatever things on there too, I'm not here to make you feel bad. I do not want to make you feel bad. I want to make you feel better. I want to make you feel like you're going the right direction, that you are powerful in your ailments, impairments, limitations, whatever it is, that you can get better. Whatever it is, changing something, adapting, modifying, exercising, obviously, flexibility, stretches. And so it's something that we can feel like we're on the same ground. We're on the same playing ground. We're on the same level playing field. We're all right here together. We're in this together. Let's have empathy for each other. Not like breaking people down. Like the nonsense of the channel I'm talking about. Like, that's just nonsense. It's just dumb. Like, what difference is it? Like, oh yeah, great. Make your little content and make your little stuff here and make your videos and do all that stuff. Good for you. But you don't have to put people down to do that way as well. But some people feel like they have to. The only way they feel like they're doing something is if they're achieving more than another person. And life is very competitive now, right? It's only going to get more competitive with AI and technology and people potentially losing jobs and getting harder to do stuff. So it's potentially a crazy place when stuff gets automated. I don't know where the world's going to go, but let's be smart with our money and invest. And that's why I'm trying to really invest in a lot of this stuff now and have dividend money coming in and be able to pay me for the rest of my life too. So, that's just a little thing that's off kilter, I know, because this is a Walking Dead chat. But so at the end of the day, I have not seen episode 2 of the Daryl Dixon season 3, but it looks like it's going to be Daryl and Carol in Spain and meeting these people, and I'm sure Carol's going to get help and be okay. Dead City season 3 filming in Boston. We'll have to see what happens with Dead City season 3 with the New Babylon Marshals coming to New York City, and Walkers and Negan and Maggie and Herschel and the Dama. And so hopefully that gets better for sure. Yeah, Negan 1, I love it. I've been trying to buy more and more Pepsi because it was down for a while. And so I have faith in big companies like that. Pepsi, Coke, Verizon, Target, Walmart, stuff like that, And so when it's down, I'm trying to buy as much. I just wish I had more money to invest. I was trying to buy it especially when I'd buy some, then it would go down, and buy some more and it'd go down. Then it went up, and I'm like, oh, we're making money. And then it came down again. But it's things, I'm excited for it too. I'm excited for the future. It's going to be one of those things that I want to buy it more and more and more, especially when I can lower my cost average and just keep it forever. Set it and forget it, get the dividends, and hopefully make good money each and every year. Roll it back into it, and then when I am old enough to retire and get there, try to live off the dividends. That's my goal. Because I don't want to live and work forever and get to the point where I'm like, I'm still working, I'm still doing this, because I want to be able to travel and get to places and see things and do stuff, and just enjoy life with my wife and my family and my friends that are still alive and doing well, and my in-laws, and just have good memories. I talk to patients all the time, and it comes up a lot with animals and everything, and talk about Otis, our cat, and then Milo, who passed away in January. And I'm like, I had Milo for 17 and a half years, and he's been gone now for coming up on 8 months. And he's the picture on my screen on my phone when I turn it on. I click it open. It's Milo, and I miss the guy. He's a cat. It's not the biggest deal ever, but he's not going to live forever. But thinking about things that we had a lot of good times together, and hopefully we have good times here on the chat and the streaming and the videos, because I love the idea of just being connected with you guys. We're in this together. We're here to talk to each other, to grow, to have a common ground that is The Walking Dead, but also life. Working hard, striving for something, goals. One of the markers of happiness that I've seen is people. Good people. Doesn't have to be a lot of people, but it's good people in your lives to talk to. And now with social media, with the internet, with, other ways to reach people, you can talk and bond with people. And it's just a great thing, because when you're alone, whether you're with somebody or not, if you're actually physically alone, it's got to be sad and depressing. But here, at least one day a week on Sundays from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Eastern time, we can talk about The Walking Dead and other shows, other movies that we're watching. And I'm enjoying different things. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. I talked about the Sheridan shows. Peacemaker's still going. Alien Earth is still going. Gen V will be out very soon. Tulsa King. It's just a lot of good stuff on there as well. Yeah, Kara, I've only been to New Orleans once because it was for the Walker Stalker cruise that my wife and I went on. And where our trip is, we're kind of go to Georgia, South Carolina area for a little bit. And then, but if I ever go to New Orleans, definitely will, because I would love to, have connections in different places with people. And because I don't have anybody besides New Jersey and Pennsylvania, that's where everybody is that I know. I'm I don't know. I don't know anybody anywhere else really. My family is all there. Trying to go to Chicago, and the question I was going to ask you guys too is what's a better state to live in, Georgia or South Carolina? I think that's a good question to finish up the live stream, because we're going to go to the area later this year and drive around and check the area out and see between Georgia, Augusta, right at the border, South Carolina, because the Savannah River breaks up the border of Georgia and South Carolina. And I'm I have to check it out, but I always love to hear what people are saying. Yeah, Hard Nixie says PT through your show, you have connection with people every day. And that's awesome, man. That's one of the goals too, is to reach out to people and be a part of that too, which is just pretty cool. Yeah. Tim says, you've asked me to come up for deer meat and lobster. Haven't seen them yet. So I would, I was actually looking, Tim, at Bangor. Because the Clearwater St. Pete Airport flies with the Allegiant to Bangor. And I'm like, And I think they go to Portsmouth. Is that New Hampshire? Because I want to go to that area. Maybe fly to Albany or something like smaller airports. How far are you away from Bangor, Tim? Negan says, I would like to live in Vermont for months out of the year and get away from the summer in Arizona. I bet, I believe the Northeast like that too is pretty cool. But yeah, Tim, that's the only airport that I can fly to with Allegiant is Bangor. I guess that's got to be the only big airport there too. Where else would you fly to Maine? I see a lot of people like Cyber Coastal says GA. Carol says GA. Red Link sending love from Kentucky. That's another place I don't know much about Kentucky, which I've heard good things. It's a lot of open land and horses, of course, but yeah, you got to get that cool down. I know I'm in Florida and I'm ready for fall, even though it starts September 22nd. We'll have to see on there too. All right, guys, that's my time. I went over it a little bit talking about the different places, but yeah, you can survive a zombie apocalypse in Missouri. Yeah, you want to be in in a zombie apocalypse, you want to be in open, non-crazy populated areas, open land for sure. So that's my time, guys. I'll be back next week to talk about Daryl Dixon, Season 3, Episode 2. Any other news or shows that we're watching, maybe Gen V and stuff a little bit there too as well. But thank you guys for taking the time. I appreciate you. Remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Keep working hard, doing what you do, staying safe. I'll be back next Sunday, guys. Go Cowboys, and I'll see you